Welcome to Frankly Speaking with Sendra D, where we dive deeply and help you wake up to the essence of what it means to live a real, authentic, affluent life. Beyond the balance sheets, the bank accounts, the private jets, the political offices, into the realm of inner wealth and personal power. I'm Sendra D, your companion guide on this trajectory of truthful self-mastery as we celebrate your individuality and your sovereignty. Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking with Sendra D. I have with me Mr. Simon Sinclair. Those of you who joined us in the last episode had the privilege of learning side by side with me because he is a wealth of information. He is an investor, but he's also has a legal background, and which is right on target as we're going to be discussing the legal strategies of cross-border transactions. So, Simon, tell the audience a little bit about you.
Hi, so I'm Simon Sinclair. I'm the owner of a company that specializes in selling and structuring deals around large acquisitions like hotels and buildings, commercial buildings all across London and Europe. I own a financial services company that does regulated lending and unregulated lending for all types of real estate and hard asset transactions. And then I have a law firm that is a strategic mitigation firm that just does the administrative support to defense or attack for financial investigations or compensation. So I do specialize in assisting with the legal challenges of cross-border transactions as well as Kingdom. But I can be reached.
So today I really want to get more onto the legal side of things. So we want to talk about the legal challenges of cross-border transactions for those of you in the audience who have an international backgrounds like myself and Simon. Like me, I don't do business. I only do business where it's approved by the US government. So don't call me about certain regions. So, but I don't discriminate. If there is a deal to be done in any place around the world, I'm there. So Simon, talk about the challenges. You're based in the UK. You do business in Dubai. You do business on mainland Europe. You do business pretty much at any given time. You're exchanging currencies. Tell us about some of the challenges and some of the benefits of being sort of geographic agnostic.
So first thing, the regulatory differences between cross-border transactions. The benefits are, once you understand those transactions and follow them, you can have an advantage against increasing the income of that transaction based on the jurisdiction. Now, compliance is a major issue. Investors have to navigate varying regulations, tax laws, and compliance requirements in different jurisdictions. For example, companies can be set up. So if you're in the United Kingdom and you want to do a deal, you wouldn't do it a big hotel personally by the asset. You would set up what's called a special purpose vehicle company, which the transaction and legalities go into that company, and therefore you're now buying the company. So this then gives you more tax advantages. You can do this abroad as well. So if I'm a buyer buying from Dubai and I'm buying London, then I've got free capital gains tax on my first purchase. If you're buying in Dubai, there's no taxes on it. So each jurisdiction has a different regulatory difference, which you have to navigate. But by doing a comprehensive due diligence, you can understand local laws and market conditions. So it doesn't matter really where you purchase. You have to understand the legalities. Some countries, you have to have a shareholder who owns 51% and you own 49%, so majority shareholder to purchase. So there's a lot of changes in the regulations that are required. Obviously, we specialize in assisting and mitigating the risk so that your risk is minimal, but you're still legal in your structure. It's all about structuring yourself to be able to receive the funds correctly, anti-money laundering, anti-corruption, anti-bribery. So these are very important. As long as you have a good structure in place,
Our freedom depends on them, right?
Exactly. And as long as you have a good structure in place and the origination is good. For example, I'm doing a deal currently with the Congo government, DRC. It's the president's project. His friend is my partner in a company. We created the SPV outside of Congo in BVI. We transferred $32 billion of asset into that co. We then went backwards with how the asset was attained and got legal opinion from every single lawyer on every single document to show an origination. So no corruption, no anti-bribery and whatnot. We then place that company into a platform that collateralizes the assets and then creates a stable coin, which we then creates liquidity. So this is we're going to talk about in the next part. So this is where legal challenges are faced. But at the end of the day, as long as you're following the law, there's always a loophole.
The law of where you are trying to...
Whatever jurisdiction you're in, right, keep with the law.
Because it changes from one place to another.
But you can apply the change to your structure. Do you see what I mean? You could live in England and just as long as you leave whenever the time span says, you can have other companies elsewhere. But if you're non-domicile, but I have a company here and I found a legal way to stay here and still be efficient with my tax by declaring it all. So there is a multitude of structures.
Which is why it's important for many investors to select where they domicile their funds carefully.
Look, I stay in England maybe 2 to 3 months, then I go to Cyprus, then I go to Dubai. So I spend 9 months of the year out of England anyway, having holidays where I'm working on my earpiece. So it depends. I could stay because I'm in England. I know the laws of England, so I structure myself to earn money within the laws of this country. Everywhere else around the world, yeah, that's what I do. So I have chartered accountants and whatnot. There is complex tax implications and double taxation issues come up, but different legal systems, they do pose challenges in resolving disputes and enforcing contracts. For example, there's a lot of countries with a lot of corruption in their governments where friends of friends are working. So if they don't want something to go ahead, it doesn't go ahead. You come to England now and it's a little bit less corrupt, like laws are followed. And if they're broken, you have a system here to fight and defend. Whether you win or not is a different story. With these legal challenges, you also have currency risks, exchange rate volatility, fluctuations impact the value of investments, but you can make money from the transactional change. So for example, when I'm converting Chinese money into dollars, you have to do it through a legal structure in China. You can't move it out. You do it in that country, you currency swap it, but you can earn from the uplift in the currency. You see what I mean?
I do. But I do have a question. I know there are companies out there, their business model is based on providing their customers a wallet, and they keep the money in the wallet, and at any given time it can change from one currency to another without having to incur multiple different exchange rates. Are you familiar with this system?
Yeah, because I have an account in America that is a multi-currency, including digital. Mm-hmm. So I can put fiat currency or I can put digital currency in there. Doesn't matter because it's multi-currency. So having wallets now, the digital era is upon us, which is obviously the next thing that we're going to be discussing.
Correct. So continue on the topic. So which market has caused the most challenge for you doing a cross-border deal?
The biggest challenge for me on a cross-border deal is Chinese money, because the Chinese government
they can't get it out.
A lot of restrictions. So I've found companies that do what's called a currency swap in China and swap it with the funds elsewhere because they want to buy stuff or do things in China. So it's called a currency swap. So that's posed the biggest challenges. I do charge for that accordingly, because the bigger the challenge, the more I'm going to charge, because I have to mitigate and keep the person safe. But I'm not giving tax advice. I'm not a financial advisor.
Oh, and that's definitely important. I think I'm going to clip that and put it in the other video as well. We're not here to give anybody's advice. We're just really educating each other And if you have some information that we could benefit from, feel free to share with us. But we're not
of course. I'm just here to assist.
Investment advice. Go ahead.
I'm just here to assist people in making a strategic decision by giving them the fact.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And the truth. That's basically it. And we always say, basically, do your own research. And of course, this is just a talking point we have. But if you want a more in-depth understanding of whatever we're discussing, do your own research. I find Google the best research assistant. So carry on, Simon. So as far as you said China, so when you speak about China, are we talking about you helping people getting money in or out of China?
Out. A lot of people want to go out. So Chinese have a lot of money. So on a lot of developments and stuff, there is a massive percentage of China's people buying because they want the visa, because there are laws in China and rules around children and whatnot. It's not getting easy for them, but they've got money. So what they're doing is they're buying apartments in London, whatever. So there's a massive Chinese population in all developments because they get the visas. So that's really what they're trying to do, just keep buying houses. And but the government's putting legislation in place where they can't. So I work with a regulatory firm that actually specialize in cross-border transactions in any country, dependent on the keeping within the jurisdictional legal framework of transferring. So if you can't take it out of China, leave it in China and swap it. So if somebody's got dollars in America and you want to go to America, they'll give you $1 million, but they'll take the equivalent in China because they want to go and invest something in China. Do you see what I mean?
So, that makes sense. And most of them are coming to the UK, or are they coming to the US? Which market is
mainly a lot? So Europe is the biggest, I think, of Chinese. I don't know about America because I've only been there once, but London has got a lot. Portugal, Spain. I've experienced Dubai. They're buying. So anywhere that they can get a visa.
I'll get you a ticket to visit the White House and go visit Joe
Biden. Yeah, I'll be up for that. Or when Donald Trump comes back in, I'll come and see him for sure.
We'll both go visit. I think Washington is now Disney World, but let's carry on. But it's a sightseeing place. There's so much going on there that it's just like Madame Tussauds museum. But go on. But carry on.
I tell you as well, the Indian is they're very strong purchasers at the minute. They're coming to London and they're buying a lot of these acquisitions, and hotels are owned by Indian companies. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's quite a good market to be in.
You're talking about trying to get Indians to invest abroad, not vice versa.
Yeah, no. But the thing is, what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to get Africa on the map with my digital currency, because Africa's rich with asset.
Yes,
but because of corruption,
you don't know who to trust.
Utilizing. Yeah, but you're not utilizing properly because everyone's after a quick buck. So America's coming along and just raping the country, and the country's allowing it because they just want money now instead of looking at a future plan and making more. Just what I mean?
Yeah, their needs are short term versus long term, but there will come a day, and that's why I'm having a conversation with someone who's an Africa expert. I put that in quotes. And he will be talking on a future podcast about the advantages. I may introduce you to him. He's well-versed in Africa, all things Africa. He's someone I've known for probably as long as I've known you. So I'll make the introduction.
No problem.
So yes, so as far as cross borders, so right now you're trying to penetrate Africa. That should be a difficult landscape to navigate, I would imagine, especially now. I think the most stable market in Africa would be South Africa, but depending on the elections, that's I think over the weekend they're having elections in South Africa, so that will determine what kind of stability they have in the market. But what countries have you been doing business in Africa? You said Congo?
Yes, I've been working with the Congo government, not the government as such, because obviously political exposure is very important. What has happened is, a private individual, I've set up a company with them and acquired assets that have valuation reports around the 32 billion mark. So currently my company in BVI owns these assets, which have minerals, gold, diamonds, everything in ground. this can be legally verified online as well. And we have an extensive team of lawyers who've done due diligence, and the origination of the company, how it came in, has all been fully AML'd regarding anti-bribery and anti-corruption, and all with legal opinion from lawyers going backwards. The purpose of this is to use the asset to create liquidity. That's the main purpose.
Makes absolute sense. So how long ago did you establish this system?
So I've been working this for the last 3 years, and I'm now at the final stage of it all.
You were going to talk a little bit about precious metal. You talked about the cross-border transactions, and that leads us into now commodities, because I believe precious metals are considered a commodity. And we talked a little bit about Africa, and Africa is rich in precious metals. So talk to me about the precious metal strategy and what you think of precious metals versus real estate.
Okay, so precious metals basically is a hedge against inflation. Like precious metals like gold and silver are seen to hedge against inflation and currency devaluation. These assets are highly liquid and can be quickly sold in global markets. They're a safe haven during periods of economic uncertainty or geopolitical risk. Investors flock to precious metals as a safe haven. Let's take gold, for example. Mm-hmm. Gold was where money began, going back to the gold standard. Yeah?
Absolutely.
America abolished the gold standard
in the 70s, wasn't it? In the 70s?
Yeah.
It was Richard Nixon.
What we're trying to do is bring back the gold standard with this cryptocurrency, what we're doing.
Makes sense.
So what we created was a full ecosystem that uses precious metals because they're so safe. Precious metals is a tangible asset. Gold keeps its value for long periods of time. You know, throughout history, if you look at the value of gold, you will see that it's not really ever really come to devaluations. It's basically been quite stable throughout history. It was backing currency at one point. They removed it. Now the currency that we have is a piece of paper that says it's $10. There's no gold behind it. You just trust in God, which is written on the coin.
And it has someone's pretty picture on it.
Exactly. But this isn't backed by anything. They're just constantly printing it. We give it a value. We are the people. We want a demand for things. So we give a piece of paper a value to then swap that paper for items. So at the end of the day, my bet is with precious metals and real estate, because we've created an ecosystem where real estate investments generate income through rents and provide stable cash flow with an appreciation potential, a tangible asset, and you can diverse your portfolio and risk across different classes. And
so when we talk about precious metal, we look at China and Russia. They've been accumulating precious metals. I think the logic behind Russia getting more metals is because they realize that they may be on their own at some point because they no longer are part of the, the SWIFT system. So the banking system, so they have to stabilize their currency because they've just been outcast. And I believe China is doing the same.
My belief is the reason why they're purchasing all the gold is simply because, like you said, they are looking to outperform the dollar and their currency be the best in the world. If the currency has no backing, how can it have a value if it's a piece of paper? So what they're doing is accumulating precious metals in order to back it with a new currency that they're going into BRICS, this BRICS thing, where they're going to create, or I've created, a new cryptocurrency coin where they're going in digital, but they're going to back it with assets, because by backing it with gold, there's no risk. You buy a coin, there's no risk. So I'll explain that to you in the next part. I personally think that this precious metals is at the moment one of the best investments that I've created.
It always has been. It always has been. It's only now because people see how the United States is no longer has hegemony, or because of the people are realizing that the US dollar no longer is not holding its value. They're seeing how the United States government is printing so much money. The inflation rate has just gone up. We have brought to the world's attention that the dollar is just a piece of paper. Now that the US is now openly competing with China and Russia, whereas before they were competitors, but it was a covert competition. Now it's an overt competition. It is blatantly everyone's face that the US wants Russia and China to fail. So they can't compete because first of all, their currency doesn't have value, and the fact that the United States is broke and because they keep funding all these wars. But this is not the conversation for this podcast. This is another podcast. Tell me, so when the reason for you partnering up with this, you say you're not partnering with the government, you're aligning yourself with another firm in the Congo. Is it because you find that the Congo has more of a precious metal deposit? Is that why you do that?
The reason why I've done what I've done is Congo is the richest country in the world by natural resource. So they have got hectares and hectares of land with mining reports of minerals. We're talking blow your mind. Yeah, this is nothing. I got 32 billion. They've offered me another 600 billion of asset, but I've told them to calm down because it's too much. Because let me monetize this part first, and then if it's successful, then I'm going to be assisting to raise monetized funds. But I'm only doing it through a crypto platform that I own. So what happened is I got these assets and I was monetizing. While I was monetizing, I met the designer and inventor and technical owner of a complete crypto digital currency platform that needed gold to back the coin. So our platform and our ecosystem is built and live right now. We are actually backed by $13.84 billion of asset, which out of the 32, I only transferred one title because this is the starting point. Once the first monetization takes place, I'll be transferring another 17.8 billion into the company, giving us an asset-backed value of 32.2 billion.
So talk to me a little bit about that. I want to segue into that. So we finished talking about the precious metal in real estate. So your company are backed by crypto, correct?
No.
Okay, so we've set that out. So let's segue into that. Your company is backed by what?
Okay, so I'm gonna just repeat what I said, and then I'll go straight into it. Our platform and ecosystem is built live right now. We are backed by $13.84 billion of land assets with valuation reports of diamonds, gold, and precious metals in ground with mining and exploration licenses. So these assets are ready to be pulled from the ground. However, we're not pulling them from the ground. We're backing our company with this asset and move the asset cross-border so that we followed the full compliance by taking it out of a country's ownership that is a little bit convoluted. We cleaned the transaction so the legal process could be followed in a nice systematic format. Now, this asset, you can verify this online yourself. My company name will appear there. What this does is then gives investor security to know that the company has got some backing in a value. But to minimize the risk completely, we're not even using the asset in a risk format. So I'll explain that as I go further.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, so I'm the principal shareholder of a project in its entirety with my partner. Now, I own 45%, he owns 45%, someone else owns 10%. I gave him 45% ownership of the asset, the 13.84, for ownership of his digital platform because I wasn't doing it as a broker. I said, if I own the land, I'll let you own the land. We'll own it together. I want 45% of your company. Now, the expert and the designer, he's an expert in smart contract design, tokenomics, blockchain, and crypto architecture of designing digital currency platforms and mitigating risk. Okay. We are also integrating all property and real estate onto a blockchain. So what I'll be doing is a blockchain. We have our own blockchain, and it is we put precious metals, we put property, so people can now transact in property on the blockchain. This makes it a verifiable ledger of transactional processes, meaning more safer. So we're just taking what I'm doing in my business, we're going digital with it, okay? And then allowing people to purchase these properties using money, but also using digital currency, Bitcoin, USDT, XRP, various other coins in a digital platform, but you fully see the transaction in real time because everything is live on the blockchain.
Okay, so the underlying asset of this platform or these currencies, if you want, are the resources, the land, the assets, the billions of pounds worth that's not been yet extracted.
Okay, that's one small part.
Okay.
Because I have that asset, I'm then raising 2 billion against the asset of 13.84. So I'm raising not just over 10% against that. So 10% loan to value is all I'm raising. Let's just say, no, yeah, just a little bit over 15%. Now, that 2 billion that I raised, that's the money that is going into the platform to trade the precious metals and currencies, to create the fees and the transactional process that gives us the daily profit. Once the daily profit is made, that 2 billion gets paid back. Once that's paid back, we don't need the asset anymore because that 2 billion is creating a volume of $12 billion a day. We have a 5-year growth forecast that we can send anyone, but based on the current market conditions of how crypto is, we have got comparable values of our coin making a volume of 12B a day, which gives around 30 million profit. However, PaxG is the number one gold-backed coin in the world right now. They have 35,000 subscribers.
That's what I was going to ask you. I said, I was going to ask you, what does your ledger look like? How many users do you currently have? How many coins are you issuing?
Okay, 1 second. I was just about to tell you. I own Fuse.gold, which is a fusion of gold with crypto. Each Fuse G coin, 1 gram, is worth 1 gram of gold. 1 coin is worth 1 gram of gold. We have 300,000 subscribers already, and we haven't even launched. And we have 4 million on-chain wallets, and we haven't even launched the gold part. We have a secondary coin called Gold X. You can't buy Gold X. This is a reward token for purchasing gold Fuse G. We then have USDX stablecoin, where we are now collateralizing the asset in a regulated company. And by collateralizing the asset, there is zero risk. You create a stable coin, and then that goes to market, and people buy into the coin, and it trades and makes the profit. The thing is, whatever you buy as a client, you've got your gold sitting in a vault. We don't own it. So you buy 1 Fuse G coin from me, your gold goes into a vault in London. You get your title deeds of your gold, whatever it is. When that gold reaches 1 ounce, you can call them, they'll deliver it to your house. But we have no control over your asset that is backing your coin.
The tangible part of this investment.
So we've put gold as a tangible asset behind a coin, and by doing that, we've created a reward coin that you trade with to make profit. You never lose your gold.
There are rumors that the UK, Europe, the United States are going to start regulating all these digital assets. What do you say to that? How do you operate?
Of course they're going to regulate it. The reason why they're going to regulate it, because they know regulation isn't a negative thing. It just means they want a piece of the pie. So they put a regulation in so that they can understand what you're doing so they can get their cut. That's it.
So what do you say?
This is going mental.
So most people who actually want to get into digital currency, they want to get into it because it's unregulated. It's not secretive, but definitely keeps you anonymous. Yeah. So how anonymous is this opportunity? How do people make sure that they stay under the radar?
Okay, so it's not actually, you don't need to stay under the radar anymore. Crypto is publicly known by everyone. You can go on marketcap.com and see that Bitcoin has a value, but it has a speculative value. There's nothing backing Bitcoin. We give it the value.
So people are now more comfortable with the transparency. I think there should be some transparency to a point. But so I think your platform sounds fantastic because what was needed was an underlying asset. The fact that you've tied it to gold and people can have it in a depository somewhere and they can have it back anytime. So what's the time frame from the time they say, I want my gold now and I don't want these coins anymore?
No, you always own your gold, but it won't be released from the vault until you've made 1 ounce. So 1 ounce is 28 grams. So when you've got 28 grams, you have 1 ounce, and then you can ask for that back.
So that's the minimum you need to have in order for you to be able to.
Yeah, because of the logistic, because we store the gold for free. So then deliver it to you is pointless. If you've got 1 gram.
Where do you store it?
It's $70. So we're not going to transport you $70 worth of. If you've got 28 of them, then it's better to transport. But to be honest, people don't ask for their gold back. Gold can be stored in any jurisdiction that has a compliant SPV structure around it. So I'm looking at Dubai, there's a refinery, and I'm also looking at London, there's a vault. Now,
so do you have, I'm sorry for interrupting, do you have people globally that have specific locations where they want to store it and they ask you, can you do this in Mauritius Islands? Can you do this in Malta? And so you just give a few options. What are the options?
So we can work with anybody globally from any country. What they do is they create an account with Fuse.gold. We haven't launched the gold purchasing yet. That's going to happen in the next 3 months. So when it launches, you can buy the gold at the value of gold. So you can buy the coin at the value of gold. Whatever the value of gold is, 1 gram on that day, that's how much you buy the coin for. Then that coin will sit in the vault. We'll give you a secondary royalty coin. You can use Gold X to trade and make profit. If you lose on your trading, you still have your gold. So your gold, you can't choose where it's stored. You buy from our platform and we have our arrangements with storage companies, vaults, refineries and whatnot. You see what I mean?
I do. This is fantastic. I just want to put a disclosure out there. I am not getting paid by Simon to discuss this. I am here to provide information. I like my audience to be well informed and to know what innovations are out there. And so again, I try to bring you professionals who can be helpful in your decision making, but without having to give you advice. We always say, do your own research. This sounds like a fantastic opportunity because crypto's been around for over 20 years now. And we have a Bitcoin that was like the pioneer, but then now we have so many other forms and strategies. This is just one of them. So again, do your own research. I do feel that crypto blockchain is essential in the marketplace right now because it gives you more freedom. As we discussed earlier in this podcast about cross-border transaction, this is one way to guarantee that you don't overstep your allowances when you are transacting outside your jurisdiction. That said, do you have any final thoughts for the audience, Simon?
So I'm going to run through you what the platform was that I created. So while we put the asset into the companies, what we created was a comprehensive gold-backed token platform called Fuse.gold. We then have a centralized gold-backed token exchange, means we are accountable. So you don't have to be under the radar. This is a centralized exchange. We offer a complimentary loyalty reward token earned via proof of volume of a gold-backed coin or purchase of NFT mining contracts. We also have our own decentralized exchange. Yeah. We have an NFT platform and marketplace where the floor price is backed by gold and our main source of liquidity is 100% backed by gold. So we are fully backed by gold in ground, and the 2 billion we raise purchases the gold that we put in the vault that the customers buy a coin with to then trade on our platform and make profit without losing that hard asset. We are also in the process of purchasing our own bank with our own licenses and crypto exchanges and fiat exchanges, so that when you download the app, you have a full passive income earning investment on your phone using crypto and gold. So we fuse and real estate. We have a tokenization platform, and we also have a collateralization platform.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and our proof of work, we're actually integrated with Chainlink and our compliance monitoring. And we have not just Chainlink, Chain Analysis does KYT, know your transaction. And our tokenization platform can actually take a hard real estate asset and tokenize it on the platform, create a stable coin against it, and raise liquidity that way. So we're now infusing precious metals with real estate, and we can tokenize any asset in the world that has a value by putting it on a verifiable blockchain and offering a multi-currency solution cross-border with legal jurisdictions all in place for the entire world. We've completely revolutionized digital currency.
Like it.
And I've got some of the biggest players behind me in the world. I've been talking to people at Revolut and HSBC and various chairmen, Goldman Sachs. And when this launches, you should see it everywhere. Look out for it. It's called Fuse.gold, FUSE.gold. We've launched GoldX already. So if you go, we've got a Loanify protocol, which is another digital lending platform. If you go to Google GoldX, Fuse.gold, and Loanify, you will find everything on it. You can actually purchase mining contracts right now. Our coin started at 2 cents. We're now 16 cents, been going up organically in value. And we have a 6.6 million liquidity in the minute in our pool at the moment. And we started with, I think it was 17,000. In about a month, we've outperformed Bitcoin. When it started, we've outperformed Bitcoin at the same place we are where they are. We've outperformed them in that space of time.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Simon, first of all, I need to disclose again, this is not me endorsing a product. This is not me saying, run to Simon. This is me just saying, I know Simon. I love his idea. I think it's a great concept. It's a great business model. Again, it sounds like it would bring value to someone. But, and again, I'm not suggesting that anyone, how can I say, I'm not promoting this at all. This is a conversation about the financial market, what's available out there. How do you hedge your risk? How do you execute cross-border transactions? You've given us so much information. We'll definitely have to have you back. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and it's such a pleasure to always tap into that big brain of yours. You're such a clever man. And thank you for sharing the beautiful view of Canary Wharf with my audience and I. And
right behind me.
And so, yes, and we would love to have you back. Let us know what your availability is. And the audience, please let us know how to reach you again, Simon.
Shall I say, yeah?
Yes, please, go ahead.
I have to reach me. Okay, so you can reach me. My mobile is the best, 07860 648484. If you're in a different country, just add +44 onto it. Contact me on WhatsApp. I can then send you links and things to look at.
Perfect. Oh, and don't forget, subscribe to Frankly Speaking with Sendra D's podcast and join us every week as we uncover the stories of those who triumphed over life-altering challenges to achieve not just financial success, but a richer, a deeper, a more altruistic life. It's about time we redefine what it means to be a truly affluent individual. Don't you agree? So come and join me. And let's be unstoppable on this journey called life. Because here, affluence isn't just a buzzword. It's a path to waking up to your authentic being.